You're listening to an episode recorded during the time Innovation Fuel was part of University Canada West. We are proud and grateful for the work we've done together, and we want to thank the university for being in our podcast. We are now excited to continue the journey of Innovation Fuel into its next chapter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Innovation Fuel, a business podcast by University Canada West.
Bringing you fantastic stories from accomplished entrepreneurs and key industry professionals. Let's explore the entrepreneurial world through local businesses and our university community.
Hello, Dave. How are you today?
Oh, Gelareh, I am doing wonderful. But I was thinking about something the other day.
What?
I've got 3 kids and a dog, and they're very active in a variety of different things. And I was trying to think to myself, looking at my finances, I'm like, when can I actually retire? I'm thinking that by the time I'm 101, if I make it that far, is when I can actually retire.
You have to understand, retirement for us as an immigrant is even tougher and more complicated because we don't have that much work history like you. And for us, you may bought a house even before us. We have to buy a house. We have to pay the mortgage. And we need to think about retirement. And this is really complicated. And to be honest, I don't know if I can be retired.
But now, Gelareh, even now, there's more challenges. We have inflation. You see the mortgage. You're saying like the survival, just surviving the everyday hustle, not even thinking about putting away for a rainy day or those financial things in the future, such as retirement. I think it's all a challenge, both for international and new people coming to this market and domestic.
Definitely. But I think that we have a person today, an expert, that he can help us to understand about financial planning. Let's welcome Alireza Fadaie, Financial Sensei, to another episode of Innovation Fuel.
Brought to you by University Canada West. Yes, Sensei. Finance. Interesting. We really need to know what's going on here. I can't wait to get to it. Before we get to that, Alman, I really got to understand who is Alireza. Alireza, tell us a little bit about you, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. So a little bit about myself. Where did the Financial Sensei come from? Basically, the only 2 things that I know are the personal finances and martial arts. I'm not a tech person. Those are the things that I'm focused on and I'm, enjoy doing. Just very, very short. So I've been working in financial industry almost since when I moved to Canada, which it's going to be 20 years pretty soon. And martial arts have been, a lifetime passion. I've won a couple of silver medals for Canada from international tournaments. And I've been instructor, I've been referee, I've been judge, I've been, director of officials for different organizations. So I've done variety of, different things. I've been a, tournament organizer. So I've done lots of things over the years. When it comes to personal finances, I've worked with some of the biggest financial institutions of Canada. I've got a bunch of, professional designations.
You even got awards for being a journalist in this element of martial arts, wasn't it?
You're absolutely right. I've been writing since 1999. I've been published in 4 countries in English and Farsi. And to be quite honest with you, I've lost the count of how many articles written or translated. It should be around 400, I would say.
So what is a financial sensei?
I should give the credit for that title to my friend and colleague back when I was working with Investors Group, my friend Sean Eldridge. He brought it up one day because he knew about my, martial arts background. And obviously I was working in the same company. He brought it up and I loved it right away. So this is back in 2008. So I started using it. And I remember I was at a networking event one day and I introduced myself as Financial Sensei, and there was another financial advisor in that event, and one lady who was a friend of that other financial advisor said maybe she's a financial sensei too. And out of the blue I was like, no, there is only one. I'm the one and only. It's my trademark. And quite honest with you, it wasn't my registered trademark at the time. I was on it right away, man. I was like, okay, so what is the process of registering it as a trademark, which I did back in, I believe it was end of 2015. But yeah, I've been using it for ages. And interestingly, everybody's liked it. Everybody I've, introduced it, they're like, oh, that's interesting. That's different.
So you take us through the personal finance. when you're dealing with a client, like personal finance is, of course, way different than corporate finance. And moving into the personal finance, how do you sort of establish a client's financial goals, their needs, their risk ability? How do you sort of work with them?
I would say, I got a graduate diploma in business. So I know a little bit about, corporate finance and, accounting. So I would say there are some similarities. If you own a business, if you run a business, there are some incomes that you generate from, selling services or products. And obviously there are some expenses, paying your staff, paying rent, paying for inventory. So I would compare it to personal finances that, hey, you got some income coming in. If you have a spouse, you're both working. So some money comes in and obviously you adjust your lifestyle to that income. So, what I've tried to do is, use martial arts as a metaphor when it comes to personal finances. So I take people from white belts all the way to black belts. And I always make this comparison that you cannot skip any belt in any martial art. So you cannot go to your instructor and say, you know what, I think I don't like this and I just want to skip yellow belt and go straight to green belt, for example. So it's just not possible. So I know for many people, for example, their focus is on, hey, I got some money that I've invested. How do I get the highest return on my investment? And they completely ignore the risk management part of it. It's not that complicated to basically come up with a plan that, hey, you have this much at the moment. You can actually even do it with a simple financial calculator, which you can get for $20-$30 from Walmart. And hey, you got this much money now. This is your present value. Okay, you can save or invest this much every year. And in 20 years, for example, if you assume this certain rate of return, your future value is going to be, for example, whatever it is. The problem is life gets in the way. So people lose jobs, people get sick, people get disabled, somebody passes away, and the whole plan just falls apart. And it's amazing because, it's not that complicated. Some part of it can be. What I've tried to do also, working with so many people over the years, to take them back to the basics. And also keep in mind that we are emotional creatures. We are not robots. We make not very smart decisions. We make emotional decisions. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of the things that affect people's finances has got nothing to do with the economy or the markets or anything else. To give you a perfect example, like not many couples, or I should say not every couple is on the same page when it comes to personal finances. They're not very straightforward with each other. Sometimes I say they are like, okay, I do my own thing, you do your own thing. You don't have a good marriage and you got divorced, you're going to have huge financial challenges. So it doesn't matter all the, financial plan we've put together for you. And also, before going through any of that, you don't have good income, you don't have good job, you don't have good business. Forget about all the planning, because reality is if you're living in a major city in Canada, there are so much expenses that you need some minimum income just to survive. So forget about, putting money aside. So there are a lot of factors, and I've tried to have as much of a holistic view to personal finances. And not everything is my expertise, to be honest. Sometimes I'm like, hey, you need to see a career counselor or career advisor, or you need to talk to a marriage counselor, because these are the things that it's very obvious you're not on the same page, and it's just not my expertise, So yeah, I've tried to have as much as I can have a holistic point of view about personal finances.
What strategy do you take to protect investments, protect their assets?
We can talk for hours about this. I'm just going to touch on some general points. The first thing that people need to know is truly, honestly, know their risk tolerance. As easy as it sounds. And I know if you're dealing with, regulated industries, you go to the bank or to some, other financial institutions, if they're suggesting mutual funds to you or guaranteed investment funds. There are some questionnaires that if your portfolio value is down 20%, are you going to get uncomfortable? Your time horizon, everything else. And you score all of that and it gives you a score, and it's going to suggest that you're a moderate risk taker or aggressive risk taker or conservative. Reality is, if you haven't invested your own money, even if they show you all those charts and graphs, it just doesn't resonate with you. It's not your own money. Okay. So unless you have invested before, you don't have a real sense of how much of a risk taker are you. Very, very general rule that I have is whatever, risk tolerance that you think you have, go one step down. Okay. So if you think, for example, if you're aggressive, you think, oh no, I'm aggressive, I'm fine. This is the money I don't need for 20 years or whatever. I would be like, you know what? Let's just go moderate, or let's just go moderate aggressive. Let's go just one step down, because you've just never invested before. You've never seen your own money. You've never got your own statements, and you've seen that your money, for example, if you put 20,000, it's down like $500, right? And it's extremely important. And I'm amazed people miss on this. When you talk about investment, and again, it's a very general term, cryptocurrency, they've been talking about for many, many years. By the way, while we are at it, if you don't know what it is, just don't listen to whatever, whoever is saying, hey, I got this much Bitcoin and it's up, I don't know how many percent, whatever it is. I don't even go there, to be honest. I have no expertise in cryptocurrency, I should say. But again, when we talk about investment, we are talking about long term. I always tell people, if you come and say, I need this money in a year or two, the only thing that I would suggest is go put it in a high interest savings account or a cashable term deposit or guaranteed investment certificate or whatever it is. Don't even put it in conservative mutual funds. Do not, because they have fluctuation too. So if that is the money that you need for short term, do not risk it by any means. If you're talking about, 10 years or more, perfect. Then we can talk about all sorts of investments and risk tolerance and time horizon and all the other things. So that is one risk. Also, it's extremely important for people to know what is it they are investing in. Like, if you got a mutual funds, that mutual funds, what is it investing in? It's mutual funds is a basket, a bunch of stocks and bonds. And if you have a good understanding that, okay, these stocks are, I don't know, the big insurance companies or the big banks, big major banks, you wouldn't be like, oh, my money is just going to evaporate in a year because the market is down. No, it's just not going to happen. That's one aspect of risk management. The other aspect, which I touched on a little bit, is types of risks to your income and asset are losing your job. You got EI, employment insurance to work, and getting disabled, getting ill, or if you're supporting a family, there are people relying on you, on your income. If you pass away and that income goes away, what's going to happen to your family? So there are, different insurance products. There is life insurance, disability insurance, critical illness insurance, and especially when it gets to disability insurance, there are a lot of details that, I deal with these things all the time, the definitions of disability and all that, which, is way out of the scope of this conversation. But these products have been around for many, many years. Problem is, people don't think about them unless something happens to them. And unfortunately, sometimes it's too late, because if you've just been diagnosed with cancer, good luck buying insurance now, right? So I know very well we put people have a tendency to put things off, but when you're healthy, you need to think about these things, because Gelareh, I've done tons of seminars over the years. Every time, and I'm, when I go for a presentation or a seminar, I'm like, forget about all the charts and graphs that you have seen or people may show you. I just ask a question from the crowd. Who do you know who has passed away immaturely or has been disabled or have got critical illness? And all hands go up. Oh, okay, here's the risk. What makes you think it doesn't happen to you? And they have no answer.
Because we're in this element, and I love what you're saying, because I think that definitely these long-term planning is great. But we're in this inflationary time. We have interest rising like consistently. Bank of Canada, still, we don't know where it's going to go. Canadian government saying, hold on, people can't afford to live here anymore. They can't afford food, they can't afford housing elements. And we still have to put away this element of thinking of this rainy day fund. Like you say, oh, what happens if I do leave my job tomorrow? Do I have a rainy day fund? Well, not really, because I'm really living paycheck to paycheck. So when you think about all these elements, these challenges that are out there in society, how is someone like yourself, the financial sensei, going to come in and support them in this element? How are they going to help them in these types of times?
I completely hear you, and I empathize with everybody who's got these challenges. And I tell everybody, hey, I'm not from another planet. I'm regular person just like you. The fact that I work in the financial industry and I make some decisions differently. I tell you, my property tax and utilities have increased 1,000 over the past couple of years. I buy grocery and it's more expensive. Everything. Now, I hate to say there is no simple solution for this. For many, many years, when the interest rates were low, I was telling people, hey, pay off that mortgage. And everybody was like, why would you pay off a mortgage which is 2%? Just go invest the money. And I had a hard time because we had this, very low interest rates environment for many years. I had a very hard time to tell people the rates are not going to stay like this forever. I would be the first person who acknowledges this and confess that I did not see Bank of Canada increasing interest rates so rapidly over the past couple of years. So I know there are some, Monday quarterbacks out there. Oh, we knew it would happen. I could see the rates increasing eventually. I never saw this, happening, so rapidly. So I hate to say there is no easy solution for this, but we all have to set up some priorities. And the reality is there are things that people just don't want to hear. Maybe, and we got this, sometimes we confuse the wants versus need, There are so many things we've been doing for so long, like, hey, we think we are entitled to go on vacation, out of country a couple of times a year. And don't get me wrong. I'm not judging anybody. I'm not saying, how people should, spend their money in a certain way. But there are just realities that, if you only can, increase your income or reduce your expenses. There is no magic here. There's absolutely no magic here. So if you don't want to do some gigs on the side or get another part-time job or, move on from a job that maybe you're comfortable with and go for a job which is more challenging and pay you more income, then you're going to reduce your expenses. There is absolutely no silver bullet or there is no magic that anybody can do. It breaks my heart because I know some people are in a tough situation. It's easier said than done. That's what I say. I really empathize with people. So that's why when people come to me and they're like, I'm thinking about investment. I'm like, okay, the first thing I ask you is, do you carry any credit card balance? Yes. Forget about investment then. Forget about investment. The best investment that you can do with the guaranteed rate of return is that you pay off that credit card, which is average credit card is around 20% interest rate. So there are some situations that, especially long-term investment, like, buying a house. And again, I totally get it. The Greater Vancouver, the real estate is very expensive. And people, when they buy, they're like, okay, I just want to buy once and for all. So I stretch myself a little bit because I don't want to move another 5 or 10 years. And I hear that at the same time, people go through some, crazy extents to get qualified for the mortgage. And they totally forget about that. They're going to have living expenses and they're going to pay that mortgage for many, many years. Right. So, there are a lot of decisions that, I try to help people take them back one step and try to help them make more rational decisions, as an outsider, which I'm not emotionally invested. That's why I can bring things up to them. And, the good thing is, I've worked with people from all walks of life for many, many years. So I can relate to most people, when they want to make, financial decisions. But again, going back to your questions, I hate to say there is no There is no easy solution. And that's the thing, because that's painful. People don't just want to hear it. Look for some magic formula or somebody who claims to have some solution. And to be quite honest, there is no solution. There is no solution. And, putting our head in the sand because things are tough or is not going to help us either. So sometimes we have to, make those not very tough decisions, to be honest. Like, hey, maybe, you know what? I cannot afford this car anymore. Or, in this crazy, inflation, maybe I can't go on a vacation and spend 15 grand. Maybe I should do something else this year or the next year, because that money has to come from somewhere. And because people don't want to make those sacrifices, I want to go to that vacation anyways. So you know what? I just put it on credit card or line of credit and I just pay it off later. With the line of credits, even if it's a regular unsecured line of credit, the interest rate is attached to prime rates. And with the interest rates, they have gone up. So that means the interest you're paying on those balance on the line of credit has gone up as well. So it's a conversation. It's a back and forth conversation that, when people trust you, you try to help them to make more rational decisions, I would say.
That was a really great, because you keep talking about long-term plan, long-term goal, long-term investment. So when it's talking about long-term, so people are in the middle of their career or they are in the, how do you approach them for retirement plan?
Retirement, to be honest, is something that is going to happen to all of us. And when I say retirement, I'm saying getting to the stage that you can financially retire. You can absolutely make a decision to keep working. We are all living longer. The old standard of retiring at age 65, I don't know if it's, if it's working for many people, because, we are easily, living up to age 85, 90. So 20, 25 years, what are you going to do? And we're assuming that you're financially comfortable, that just imagine you don't have an income. You should have some source of retirement income for 20, 25 years that many people don't have anyways, right? So retirement is going to happen to all of us. And this is actually the sooner you start planning for retirement, the better, because it's going to get more comfortable. Very, very simple mathematics. You want to save 1 million 5 years, you want to save 1 million in 20 years, which one is going to be easier? Obviously, right? So my easy solution to people is put whatever you can aside for your retirement. And a lot of people, again, especially if they're working for government, for different levels of government, they got some pension from work, which is great. Some of those pensions, to be honest, are very attractive, to be honest. But again, they don't know how the pension works. So I'm like, okay, how long you've been working? Is that job guaranteed? Are you going to keep that job for the rest of your life? You don't know any of this, right? If people have defined benefit pension plans, which outside of the, government entities, I don't see that very often, to be honest. Unless people have defined benefit pension plan, they got some RRSP from work, retirement savings from work, which, some of the employers match, which is great. But again, they don't know if it's enough or not, right? So the first step is, do you know how your pension works, or do you know how your work retirement savings works? Is there a gap? Okay, if there is a gap, you're going to fill the gap, because the sooner you do this, it's going to be easier. And again, for most people, it's just going to start with, what is the amount that you can put aside every month or every week or whatever it is, that is not going to have any impact on your lifestyle? For some people, it's $100. For some people, it's 1,000. But once you build that habit, it's everything else down the road is just going to be easier for you. Okay. So now these are simple. Those, basically pension plans, they are taxable. On the other hand, we're going to look at, how you can pay the less tax possible when all these pensions and Canada pension plan and all this security, you start receiving them, they're going to be added to your income. So we want to be tax efficient. That's what I'm going to do as the financial sensei. That's going to be, more complicated. You, the consumer, you, the client, take care of this, stuff that you have control on. Just put some money aside. And again, habits. in my, recent book as well, that's what I've tried to focus on. It's all about building habits because, you go over people's cash flow and you're like, okay, so you're saying that you got 2,000 surplus every single month, but you look at the balance sheet and not only you don't have any savings, you got credit card debt. It just doesn't work. So something is missing here. And so there are some habits that, again, over the years, people have shared some very personal things with me. Sometimes it's like, walking on an eggshell that you want to respect people's privacy. I mean, you hear all these gurus, oh, you don't buy a coffee from Starbucks every day, you're going to save this much. You do this much, you're going to save, and, don't do this, don't do that. Why do you need money for then? The easiest way not to spend money. And some people may, consider it rude. You know what? You don't want to spend any money, die. What the? Like, I listen to some of these gurus and I'm like, people want to leave. It's all about the balance. You know what? You want to save money, don't have kids. Like, what kind of solution is that? Right? It's all about, coming with the, some middle ground and some balance that people want to leave. They want to enjoy their life, but at the same time, they want to be mindful about their future. Okay? That's what a solid financial planner should do, I would say.
I'm sold. Where do I sign up? Let me get going. Where do I get the book? I hear you have a course. I'm on board. Let's go. Let's fix my mess. Gelareh, I think you're on board too. But, amazing. We could go on, and I'd love to go on. I think there's multiple episodes we could go on about this element. Before we end today, we have to get you to give us a challenge. Throw a challenge out to our students, challenge out to our audience. It could be a macro challenge, a big, personal challenge that we should all be thinking about, or it could be one that you as an organization is dealing with and you need some help with students getting some ideas to you.
Absolutely. So my challenge to everybody is, and many people are going to scratch their head and they're going to be like Financial Sensei, is that all you have? Or this is like elementary level mathematics. Like, I can't do that. Trust me, guys, go take the last 6 months statements on your credit card and debit card and everything and watch where the money goes. You would be amazed. You would be surprised. Trust me. The first thing it's going to do, because I've gone this year with many people and many couples, and if you have a significant other in your life, definitely try to be on the same page and do it with your spouse or, whoever it is. So first thing is going to serve you is you would be surprised, how many subscriptions that you have that you're not even using anymore. Or it just makes you, think about, what is that $20 over there? Or I can't believe you're still paying for that. Or, man, we don't even have time to watch TV. We don't even have time to go to that certain platform. Why am I still paying for that? Right off the bat, I can say average person has cut down $100, $200 a month for all those crazy things. And I can't believe we are spending this much for this. And again, coming to the, finding that fine balance is important. Hey, guys, hey, honey, you know what? We can't afford to go dine out every single night. We just can't do that. I'm not saying don't do it at all. Maybe you should. Here's another thing. Here's the other challenge that I need you to do, guys. I give you a perfect example. Since June this year, in 2 months, I lost 8 kilos of weight. Now, the same principles that I teach to everybody, guys. The diet that is going to last for a month is no good for anybody. You want something sustainable, okay? So imagine somebody who hasn't worked, who hasn't been physically active, their whole life, not eating healthy. Now, all of a sudden say, hey, exercise 6 times a week. Don't eat this. Don't you touch that. Cut this, cut that. They may do it for a month, but majority of the time is not going to be very sustainable. Okay. So what I did was, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut, for example, I love these treats. I'm just going to have it once a week. I'm going to cut down on white bread. I'm going to cut down on rice. Rice, I only have it once a week. I don't cut it completely, and very quickly, I lost 8 kilos, which it's, 17 pounds or something in 2 months. For first 2 weeks, it was a little bit challenging. I was a little bit grumpy. I was a little bit hangry. But you know what? I mean, it is what it is. Like, here's another thing what I try to, especially when it comes to martial arts, guys. I totally respect. Not everybody wants to go compete, but you only get a good feeling about self-defense if you look at it from that aspect, if there is some physical contact. Otherwise, you don't have the reality-based understanding of how self-defense is going to work. Why did I mention that? Because there would be some pain, guys. Everybody is all about, hey, I got this easy solution. You just sit on the couch and put this device on your muscles and you're going to lose weight and you're going to grow muscles. And I don't even know what to say to that. There is no magic formula. You have to do the work. You have to put the work. What I've tried to with my book and my online course is, guys, I'm going to be there for you, but you got to do the work, man. So I cannot hold your hands. You're the one who has to make those decisions. You're the one who has to, keep the discipline. I'm going to be there to motivate you and, keep that long-term goal for you as a perspective, but you're the one who has to do the work. With that said, thank you so much. The name of my book is Black Belt Money Management. It's available on Amazon and paper copies. Some people love paper copies. And the cost of the book is only $20, guys. You don't make your money worse. You don't make your money worse for $20. You keep the book. I give you $20 back. Just one thing before we go, guys. With the online course, you can go to www.mypersonalfinance.ca. Online course, comprehensive. Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity.
I love it, my friend. I love it. And I think it's great. I think we'll get Thomas to put that in the show notes for today's show. Love the journey we've had today, my friend. Thank you so much for all the great information. As I said, I think this could go on for a long period of time. I got lots of questions, but I think I'll have to save those questions for you and I ourselves.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you, Alireza. Thank you, Dave. That was another episode of Innovation Fuel. Thank you for listening to Innovation Fuel. We are on all podcast streaming platforms, Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Visit our website at www.ucanwest.ca/Innovation Fuel. Also, follow us on Instagram at Innovation_Fuel.